Humans benefit from being exposed to nature, and it's been proven that simple things like looking at it through a window can reduce stress in working places, can reduce the frequency of illnesses in prisons, and much more. That is great and all, but as a gamer, how does that concern me? Well, scientists have started to study the impact of virtual nature. Whether it's through what your grandma watches on Discovery Channel, or the animals, aquariums and zoos category on Twitch, or your latest playthrough of Red Dead Redemption 2 where you wandered in the Scarlet Meadows to hunt the legendary Jaguaro Panther, can interactions with technological nature provide humans the same psychological experience and benefits as actual nature? A study from 2008 titled Gamers Like It Green: The Significance of Vegetation in Online Gaming showed an interesting trend within the French World of Warcraft community. If World of Warcraft doesn't mean anything to you, just know that it's a massively multiplayer online role-playing game that's been around for 20 years. It's a massive world with rich lore, strong community and customizable gameplay through quests and character development decisions. So what is this study all about? They wanted to know if gamers were attracted to virtual nature, and if the ones that go out the least were even more attracted than others. That could have massive consequences in today's environmental crisis, but first let's see what the study found out. Ming Zhuan, the author and apparently a big World of Warcraft fan, I mean just look at the way he described the game in his article.
WoW is a colorful, detailed, and complex tri-dimensional universe featuring a large variety of environments, each region having its own characteristics: vegetation, fauna, landscape colors, weather, and even extraordinary sky events. WoW is also full of magic landscapes and creatures that may seem straight out of a fantasy book, like floating islands with spilling waterfalls, giant mushroom forests, dragons, dwarves, elves, and a multitude of fantastic creatures.
Min sent out an online questionnaire to the French WoW community and received about 1100 answers, which is pretty high considering how much we gamers like to answer online questionnaires. He asked them about their in-game races and class, their most liked and least liked regions in the game, their connectedness to nature in real life, and asked them to rank these 6 reasons to play in order of preference. First, I play to escape real life. Second, I play to meet my online friends. Third, I play to feel a sense of achievement. Fourth, I play to be the master of my own adventure. Fifth, I play to pass the time. And finally, sixth, I play to have access to a world with predominant nature. If you're confused by that last one, don't worry, so was I. It ended up being ranked last, but some people didn't put it last. Once they collected that data, they looked at the most liked regions, the least liked regions, and other random ones cited by the players. They then defined the naturalness of those regions by sending a character to 5 random spots of those regions to take a screenshot. And I don't want to dive too deep into details, but they kind of counted the number of green vegetation-related pixels to create an index. And then they also looked at the percentage of ground covered by vegetation, type of landscape, presence of water, and presence of buildings. For races and classes, they just looked at the wiki and tried to find words related to nature. For example, Night Elf's description says devoted wholly to the natural cycle of the world. Bang! That's a highly nature-related race. Finally, they looked at the words the gamer used to describe their favorite region. And then they did what scientists love to do: data analysis. First of all, to put it simply, gamers prefer green regions. The most liked region had a high number of green pixels, and the least liked had a low amount of green pixels. 13 of the 18 most disliked regions have no vegetation whatsoever, and in the 14 most liked regions, all of them have some form of vegetation. When describing why they would prefer a region over another, gamers usually used words that do refer to vegetation. And if we come back to gamers' motivations to play, the I play to have access to a world with predominant nature option that we were confused by earlier was ranked even worse by player with a high connection to nature. So it's not really a strong reason to play, but it is stronger amongst gamers who don't go outside compared to gamers who do go outside. Okay, so they proved that gamers like it green. It's not too surprising, but the fact that some people were motivated to play to have access to a world with predominant nature does raise an interesting question. Can virtual nature replace actual nature? We humans benefit from nature. We inherited that from thousands of years of evolution where that affinity for nature was a favorable trait to survival. That trait is still today woven into the architectures of our mind, helping us relax to the sound of water, lowering our stress in front of a beautiful landscape. But does virtual nature give the same benefits as real nature? Well, Peter H. Kahn, an American psychologist, published somewhat of an answer to that question in 2008. They took 90 people and put 30 of them in front of a glass window that afforded a view of a nature scene, 30 in front of a plasma screen with essentially the same scene but in 1080p, and 30 in front of a blank wall. They then looked at heart rate recovery from a low-level stress. And as expected, looking at the real window was a lot better than the blank wall. But the TV screen, showing nature, was also better than the blank wall. Worse than the real window, but better than nothing. There are a bunch of other studies that show the same trend, like the one where they had people long-distance gardening things to robot-controlled arms. But if you're interested, I'll link them in the description, and while you're down there, why not subscribe, hey? So all in all, it's not proven yet that video game nature has the same benefits as actual nature, nor that it even has a small benefit, but I would guess it's at least as good as looking at a TV screen showing nature. And honestly, probably better since you're interacting with that environment instead of just passively looking. But would it be a good or a bad thing? Increased exposure to virtual nature could also create an unwillingness to leave its safety for the real world. Real nature could be less rich and exciting, or alternatively too dangerous or unfamiliar to our senses, which are barely or less used in the virtual experience. In other words, if we get the benefits of nature while staying at home, we might end up in a world where no one ever goes outside. And I can't really imagine that to be a thriving society. But what if instead that was the entry point to nature connectedness? What if video games tickled that biophilia and awoken gamers' ecological awareness? We've seen games like Wakfu where biodiversity's regulation plays a role in the story, or Terra Nil where the goal is to transform a barren wasteland into a thriving, balanced ecosystem. Could these type of games raise awareness and be the birth of a new passionate psychologist? Or will they just fill our innate desire to go outside and allow us to never leave the safety of our homes? While Min, our passionate gamer scientist, continues his research and, I hope, enlightens us one day, I'd love to hear your opinion. That's it for now. Au revoir.